Yeah, I know. Well, good thing we didn't cancel. I said we've already got 3 of them this week. Well, let's have a 4th. You know? Well, obviously, this is everything that we've worked an entire year for, and that's first and foremost. This is something that our guys, have put on us as an objective, and we got to make sure that we are not denied nor distracted by all the different things. And there's a lot of things, not just things with me, but with all of our guys. We've said that on Sunday night. Let's get rid of all the things you got to be able to handle this week based on Sunday and Monday. And when Tuesday comes, when practice starts, we got to be ready to roll. So obviously Houston's a great football team. This is, to me, as well-balanced a football team as we've played all year, offense, defense, and special teams. It doesn't, you guys can look at the stats and see that stuff. As complete a team, I think, as we've played all year. And that's why it's going to be huge. This is another opportunity for our seniors. Not just, I always say our seniors, but it's another incredible opportunity for our entire football team and program to play in front of an incredible crowd, a student section, with an opportunity to win a championship at home. Those things obviously don't come around all that often, and to do it actually at home, obviously there aren't a whole lot of conferences that have that. But we have got a challenge. Obviously, 11-1 Houston team that lost game 1 and has run off 11 straight. So it's going to be an incredible challenge. And with a coach, I think, to be honest with you, I don't think anybody's done as good a job all year as Dana Holgerson has. And I don't know where everybody had him picked and ranked to start the season, but what they have done this year and watch them grow as a football team and program, just off your cross games is really, really, really impressive. So we got to make sure, no matter what, every one of our kids and every one of our coaches understand that this is what we've worked an entire year for. And nothing can keep us from doing what we need to do. And that has a lot to do with not just playing on Saturday, but it has even more to do with the preparation that it takes to win a championship.
They are extremely aggressive, especially on defense. How do you game plan for a team that is going to come after you every time?
Well, I mean, obviously the offensive guys have to do a great job of that. It's hard to simulate at times. It's kind of like, when you're playing some of those offenses, like go back to Navy, and it's hard to simulate, the speed of how you do things and how they do things. It's similar, I think, for them defensively. It's hard sometimes to simulate the speed and the aggressiveness of what they do, especially with their guys up front. So it's a challenge. And, we've seen it all year, kind of watching, not knowing that this is what it was going to get to. I don't know that the offensive guys get to see their defense that often because they don't watch those crossover games. But I know, being in the defense, obviously a lot more, we were able to see a lot of that, their aggressiveness and see what they've done all year. So it's a challenge. And, we always talk about the other way around when, you're facing a tempo team, or you're facing the UCFs that throw the ball down the field and go mock speed, and you're facing a Navy team that runs the option. Well, it's the same way the other side. Sometimes it's really difficult to prepare for something that you probably haven't seen as much all year, and it's really just the speed and the aggressiveness of it. So they'll throw a lot on our guys. I mean, we've got to give the looks, and that scout crew's got to try to simulate as best they possibly can, so those guys can feel what it's really like.
You've talked all year about blocking out the noise, controlling what you can control. When it goes from something like the rankings to job carousel, and it's more on you specifically, does that change how you handle it individually?
No, I mean, I don't say I do a lot of things really good, but one thing I like to think I do pretty well is keep my head down and not get into all the other stuff. And, I don't look at my phone. I don't read a whole bunch. So for me, I don't think it's as big a deal. But I know, obviously it's not about me. It's about the 18 to 22-year-olds. It's about, everybody in our program. So we obviously are aware of all the different things on everybody's plate, but we got to have enough maturity. We got to have enough respect for what it is that we've all done, and especially what these seniors have done, to not allow it to be a distraction to anything that we do.
Do you address that distraction with the team this week? Say, hey, I'm here focused on this game.
Yeah, normally we don't do a whole bunch of that. I think that's one of those things that I what maybe I don't do a great job of. I rely upon the leadership of those guys and what it is that they've done. We've got enough trust, respect, and love within our walls. And I say the locker room, but within our walls, that a lot of times, we don't deal with those things on the outside. If we feel like we need to, then we will. Just like if a kid has an issue, you don't want him to let it fester. And but I can promise you that there's enough trust, respect, and love in this program that we all know what we're headed for, and we all know what we need to do.
The class of 33 seniors, what does it mean to have that opportunity to come back for one final time for a conference championship?
It's an awesome feeling. I'm so happy for those guys. When you had that last senior day, you said this is our last guaranteed opportunity, and we always kind of use those terms, kind of like we say with seniors. This is your last guaranteed opportunity at playing a game of college football. And we all know there are probably more games. And when you played that last game, you were hoping maybe you would have another home game, but we always refer to it as the last guaranteed opportunities. Well, this is the last opportunity for these guys to play in front of that home crowd, to play in front of that student section and in the Nippert Stadium. So I'm happy. I'm excited for them. Obviously we love having it at home, but it means a little bit more. I know that just from what those guys have been through and where they were 5 years ago. So it's another great opportunity.
Would you mind addressing the Notre Dame speculation?
Yeah, I don't know what there is to address. I mean, like I said, for a guy that keeps his head down and very rarely ever answers his phone or does anything like that, I don't talk to a whole lot of people. So there is nothing. That's the crazy thing. It's all, whatever is being said out there and different things. So there is no speculation. Is the job open? I guess it is, but I wouldn't know if somebody didn't tell me. And it's the same way I am with rankings. It's the same way I am with, unfortunately, a lot of other things, with exception to recruiting, that I don't pay a whole lot of attention to. So I understand that, most importantly, all I care about are the guys that sit in these seats, to be honest with you, to make sure that they know what's most important to all of us, and, to make sure we've all got to find ways to keep our minds focused on the things that we've got to be able to do, because I'm not the only guy that's got things swirling around in their head. We've got plenty of guys that have opportunities to go to the NFL. We've got plenty of guys that have opportunities to make decisions, whether to come back. We got seniors that, there's this COVID year hanging over everybody's heads that, they've got decisions to make. So we've all got things, and what these guys have done a phenomenal job all year of is finding ways to not allow that to affect how we handle our business. And I mean that together. We haven't always been perfect, but I mean the things that we do within that locker room and on that football field. Like I said, we rely a lot on the trust, respect, and love we have for one another.
Do you have any thoughts about how college football generally might address this annual craziness?
Yeah, I got some thoughts. I don't know that this is the time or the place for it, but it's an ever-changing world. That's the tough thing. And some people would point it at, early signing or transfer. It's a lot of things. And our job as coaches is to continue to make this game better. And we've got to make sure within the off season we make this game better. I've got some things that I want to talk about as far as how the game is played. With what we're allowing and where we're moving to as a game of football. And I think as coaches, we need to address it where our game is going to in the midst of, 18 to 22 year olds, a college student athlete, as opposed to, is it moving a little bit more towards what the NFL is. But those are things for the offseason.
You talked the other day about 3 straight conference titles. What has been the differentiator for this program that you've been able to?
I really do believe it's that complementary all 3 phases. It's we've continued to grow, and I'm not saying we were great in any one phase 3 years ago, but I think what we have done is we have caught up and been able in all 3 phases of the game find ways to win, and I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, you see it every week. I don't watch a whole lot of college football. Last weekend, probably the first time in a while that I've watched college football. That's the nice thing about playing on a Friday, and it just reminds you that it's very difficult to win. It's very difficult to sustain what it is that you're doing. And the only way I believe that we've been able to do that is because we have balance in what we do. At times we haven't played well defensively. A couple years ago at ECU, and our offense picked it up, and we found a way to make a play at the end of the game and win a game. And and other times we've had to kick field goals in the last plays of the game a couple years ago, where the other way around. Maybe the offense hasn't played well, and all of a sudden the defense gets turnovers and does some things. So if I really looked at it over the last 3 years, I'd say our ability to play complementary football, our ability to play all three phases, trust, respect each other, and find ways to win.
I know you don't, the P5 G5 stuff, but at a program like this, what's the biggest challenge to that, to being able to, not have a gimmick offense or, be starting on one side to be able to play be a complete team?
Well, I still think it starts up front. And, I mean, really the top 10 programs, when you really look at them, yes, they've got great athletes. Yes, they do. But I think they have the ability, on both sides of the ball to be able to, at times, really control the football game, rely upon those guys. And no matter what, I don't think it changes. It's still about the ability to have those guys up front that, can make a big difference in what it is that you're doing.
How much are they like you and the level of aggression that you play with? Is it different the way that they do it, or are there similarities?
No, I think there are some. I think that there are different schemes defensively, but I think what I have seen, even from ECU last week, I think it's a very aggressive defense, and I think that we're going to see the same thing, different. Maybe a little, obviously with more of a four-man front and a little bit of different ways at which they are aggressive by nature. But I think what you're starting to see is maybe I'm not saying a transformation, but whether it's in the league or not, of just the defenses that are becoming more aggressive, as opposed to where as these offenses have progressed and become really innovative in the last 6, 7, 8 years, where I think the defenses were a little bit more passive. And I think what we're seeing, particularly in our league, is some defenses that are becoming much more aggressive, and it's a bigger factor, I think, than what maybe it was 5 years ago.
Is that reflective across the sport? I think if you look at the 4 or 5 teams that are in the top 5, all of them are in the top 10, 11 in defense.
You know what? As the stats, I don't usually look at till the end of the year, so I appreciate that. That's really good. I guess I didn't think about it beforehand. You always said when it comes to the playoffs in the NFL, about when college football is over and the playoffs kick in, it's about the only time I would be aware of what's going on as much in the NFL. And you always hear about it late in the year. Those teams that can run the football and those defenses that are in the top 3 or 4 of the league are the ones that are still playing. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know. I hate to say Coach Saban said it two years ago, which was a kind of a dagger when he said it, that obviously the offenses are far above what defenses are, and good offenses can't stop really good, or good defenses don't have as much of a chance against really good offenses. So I don't know, maybe there's some balance coming back to what it is that we're doing.
You obviously wouldn't have known about the COVID year and added year of eligibility, but was there a deliberate effort to get old? That's another thing that people talk about. Good teams.
I don't know that we had to get old. We've got some older guys, and we got some guys that have been here for a while. But I think as you look across, older teams have a chance. I'm not saying always a greater chance. I mean, youth is still what everybody's looking for too, right? But I think the maturity of what you got when you've got that deeper group, guys that have been there for 4 and 5 years, I think it does really help you. But like anything, there's got to be a balance to what it is you're doing. If you're playing with, 35 18-year-olds, you could have a problem. But if you're playing with, 35, 22-year-olds, I mean, maybe you don't have some of that youth and some of the different things that they bring as well. So it comes back to balance.
Any more questions?
Yeah, if I may hop in before you take off. You've been talking all year long about just taking care of your business, winning games, and playing your best ball at the end of the year. If you win Saturday, do you think this team has done enough to be a college football playoff team?
They aren't calling me. they're probably not after the game, no matter what happens, going to call and ask me what I think. So I just kind of always try to keep my opinions to myself. Our job is to go out there and play our best game on Saturday. And if we do that and it's good enough, then we'll be in the spot that we should be. If we don't do that, or we do that and it's not good enough, there's nothing else that I can do about it. But that's another one of those things that you just don't have any control over, and you don't allow yourself to worry about it. And, we leave that to the higher-ups and the people that can worry about that. But, anything beyond, 4 o'clock on Saturday is probably not something I'm spending a whole lot of time worrying a whole bunch about.
I think you told me after the Notre Dame game you felt like it was one of the best teams in the country. So kind of way that you still feel like you're one of the best.
Yeah. We're 12-0. We found a way to win, whether everybody believes it was pretty or not. And there's one left, one other team that's undefeated in college football. So, yeah, I don't, whatever anybody else says, like I said, there's a lot of opinions out there. It's amazing the amount of different ones that you can get based on who you ask. And, that's why they don't usually call and ask us what we really think about, what it is that they're going to make decisions on.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Play Thursday.
And then Friday.
Love it.
Senior quarterback Desmond Ritter next. Questions for Daz?
Good afternoon.
Hi, guys. You've been here before a couple times now, preparing for a championship game. Does anything change approach-wise, preparation-wise this week that you do differently other than earlier this season?
No, nothing changed for us. If we were having to change something, then we weren't doing something right in the first 12 weeks of the season. So we're preparing this game as we do any other game. We know it's a big game that we got on Saturday. It's a great opponent. And so we're just preparing like we would any other game, and just knowing that just our attention to detail just has to be that much better.
They are very aggressive defensively. What are you seeing on tape when you watch them, and how do you get in that mindset of knowing every snap they're coming after you?
Yeah, their front four is where they go in their defense, and it's backed up by great players behind them. But they don't pressure much as far as blitzes. They like to get after the quarterback. With their front four, I think they lead the conference with 43 sacks, I think it is. And so we know our O-linemen have a challenge in front of them. And for me, that just means I have to get the ball just that much quicker. And when I do get the ball out, our playmakers have to go make plays. They don't do a lot in the back end to confuse us as a quarterback or anyone else, but more so they just play ball. And that's what we like to do is once the ball goes down, we just play. I think if we can handle up the front four, it's going to be a good game.
How much when you watch them on tape, and obviously the front is different, whatever, but how much do you see your defense in the way that they're constantly coming after you and playing down there?
Yeah, no. They play fly around, attack the ball football. And that's how we preach it here. That's all we preach here. There's a lot of similarities in the way they go about their games, the way they play their football. And, I think that, like their defense and our defense, it's really just about attacking the ball and how do they get the ball as quick as we can.
Dan, talk about what it's like for this game Saturday. You're one of the 33 seniors on this team. Talk about what it's like for one more time here at Nippert Stadium.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a special moment. Our senior night was 2 weeks ago, and, that was our last guaranteed opportunity to play here in Nippert. And, obviously we wanted to beat ECU and know that we have another opportunity to play here. But to know that this is really, truly our last one, it's going to be a special moment for all of us to kind of take in pregame and take in right there before the ball's kicked off. But once the ball's kicked off, it's football how it is every other week. And then hopefully, at the end we can be celebrating with everyone else in the stands.
Does, is there anything you need to tell the team as a senior, kind of what needs to happen going into these championship games? Is there anything you got to tell the younger guys to get them prepared?
I'll just tell them, and it'll really start today at practice, that everything we do at practice, like I said earlier, just has to be attention to detail, and just the finer things and the points, and where you might slack off on a play, we can't have that. Everything has to be 100%, everything that we do. And we know that the things we do today and the things we do tomorrow in our bulk of practices, it's going to show up on Saturday. So like I said earlier, though, we haven't changed anything that we've done. We're not doing anything extra, and we're just going to keep it pushing until Saturday.
You've heard Coach talk all year about blocking out the outside distractions. When some of those distractions change, is it reassuring to see that he's still reacting the same way as he was when it was talked about rankings, as he might when it's job speculation or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Coach Fick does a great job of keeping the outside world and the outside media, outside of this building and outside of this team. Once all of us step foot into Linder, it's all about business and it's all about ball and nothing really else matters. So I think he does a great job of handling himself. And then it kind of just filters down throughout the program, throughout the players, throughout the coaches. And we're just focused on the game on Saturday. And that's all his attention's on, so that's all our attention's on. No, I don't think so. Some people might joke about it, but we all know Coach Fick loves us at the end of the day. His decision's his decision, but like I said, we're focused on Saturday, and we're just excited to go out there and play.
You spent a little time with Jordan Palmer. One, how did you make that connection? And two, what were some of the things that he thought were important for you to know in terms of playing the quarterback position?
Yeah, so I think we made that connection. It was early all season before last season, and we've kind of just kept it. Obviously I've been out there a couple times to go work with them, and then all throughout this past season or this season, excuse me, we have a Zoom that's like mostly once a week. That we just hop on. Sometimes it's breaking down mechanics, and then sometimes it's really just talking about the game of football and the way we go about preparing things, and my attitude towards the game and how I go about my game. And I really feel like he's just benefiting me and just having an extra ear just to be able to bounce ideas off of, and just be able to listen to, because he's worked with a lot of great players, a lot of great NFL players. He's had a lot of people in his corner. And so just, having another guy to just be able to help me in my journey and my success, it just makes my job a lot easier.
Has there been any one thing, suggestion he has made that you put into practice that's really worked and helped you?
Yeah, me and Coach Gino had sat down kind of mid-season and talked about it as well, but it's just being aggressive. And not only that, but being aggressive effectively. And the way you do that is, obviously extended plays. And the way we talked about it, I think it was 2 weeks ago when we talked, he said, in each play that you run, whether it's a run play, whether it's a pass play, whether it's an RPO, how can you get the most out of each play? But like I said, also do it effectively. So, whether that's scrambling and making a play downfield, it's scrambling and making a play downfield but not throwing it into double coverage. It's taking those RPOs when they're given to you. And like I said, me and Coach Gino had that conversation midway through the season as well. But, sometimes it just takes hearing it from another person to actually kick in for you.
You might have heard Coach Fick's answer, so I hope you don't just steal it. But you saw the transformation from 4-8 year one to 3 straight conference championships. What's the biggest reason for that, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would say, earlier in those years, in the 2018, 2019 years, it was really, in the transformation from 2017, 2018, it was really working on the brotherhood within the locker room, because I think, there were a lot of great guys in that locker room, and, all those guys were good friends and that, this and that, but, once they stepped on the football field, it was a little different mentality for them, whether that was being selfish or got to make the plays that I need to make, and, it really changed to where, obviously, we're all still good brothers. We do anything for each other. But now we know that, obviously football is a game where, 11 people have to play as one. And then we talk about 3 units playing as one as well, offense, defense, and special teams. And I think everyone has bought into that, all throughout the past couple of years. And we know that everyone has to do their job to make this team successful. And that's where I felt like we've just benefited from over the past couple of years. And now coming into this year, we have, a buttload of seniors that have been here for a long time, have played a lot of football. So hopefully that we can take what we know and, our knowledge of the game and how to be successful, and pass it down to the younger guys.
What sparked that change, kind of from, more together, more selfless as a whole
I mean, it wasn't a overnight thing, that's for sure. I know Coach Brady has a lot to take into that from some of the workouts he put us through together. That in some of those winter and summer workouts, it really sees who wants to be like a part of this brotherhood, who wants to be a part of this team, and just seeing guys work day in and day out to work their butts off to be the best players that they can be for this team, and then having some of your best players. Play on special teams, as Coach Fick preaches. We're going to put our best players on special teams, where some teams would have their best players just kind of, play one side of the ball. So seeing some of the best players, sacrifice, I'm not going to say their bodies, but their bodies on special teams to do what we need to do to have a complete team. I think it's really what's made this team great. I feel like I'm one of the best players on the team, and I ask Coach Fick all the time why he hasn't put me on special teams. And we're on game 13. I'm still working my way there. But, I mean, hopefully I'll get there one day. I might be a kick returner. I'll go block for Trey. Kickoff, I'll go run down there and hit somebody. I could be a gunner, get down there, make a play. I mean, maybe on pump block. I'm lengthy. I might get in there and try to pump block. But, no, all those guys do a great job of preparing week in and week out. Like I said, that's something I don't even know about. We don't as quarterbacks. We don't go in the special teams meeting. So I have great appreciation for, all the guys on the special teams, whether that be a walk-on or whether that be a 6-year senior. So, it's just great appreciation for everything they do.
Speaking of Royer, how awesome was it to see him get that moment?
Oh, I mean, it was great. We came in here on Sunday and turned on the film during our team meeting, and, we saw him get the field goal block and come over, and he's jumping up and down on the sidelines, and then you go back and watch the film, and he, I think, jumps about that high off the ground, but then, he goes up and runs and chest bumps Coach Mason and basically about runs him over. And, just the energy that Royer provides to our team on a daily basis is, what keeps a lot of us going.
There are so many people outside of your program who've been talking about playoffs, national championships. You've been consistently talking about the conference championship and the championship that we have. Why is this so important to you in this moment?
Because this is something that we've, only had a chance to get, and, all throughout since I've been here and all throughout, I think the years of Cincinnati. All we've been wanting to do is play for conference championships, whether that was when I first got here and, that wasn't even realistic when we were 4-8 to, that 2018 season when it was just, right there. And then 2019 when we're playing back-to-back in Memphis and, we come up just short. And then obviously last year being able to play in the conference championship, play here at home, and actually win it. It's just something that we've been striving for ever since, I've got here, and it's something that Coach Fick has preached ever since he's got here. A national championship is on the minds of the big dogs of the Clemson, Alabamas, and Georgias every year. I don't know. I'm obviously not in their program, so I don't know how much they care about a conference championship. But for us, that's one of the biggest things in our program.
Do you have any thoughts on what goes through your brain when you see the amount of money that's being thrown around at head coaches right now, or have you not seen much of that?
Nah, I mean, I'm a player, so I'm not really worried about what coaches are getting paid. That doesn't come down to us or what we see. So I'm not. I did actually see the some of the benefits that Coach Riley got out there at USC, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So
10 years, $95 million make you want to get into coaching.
yeah, but I mean, I know as being a quarterback and obviously my preparation being taken to the next level, and over the years I've kind of seen obviously Coach Gino and how he goes about his things, and having a family is definitely difficult being a coach, having a family, because they do spend a lot of time here and a lot of time away from their family. And, like I said, me having a family now, being a quarterback, who you can call as like a mini coach, and the time I spend here and like I say, I get up before she wakes up and I get home when she's already in bed. So it's definitely tough.
Did you ever imagine when you came here to play quarterback you'd be carrying a tray of cheese carved into the shape of a turkey?
No, I never did imagine that. That was a fun little night that I spent with the O-lineman, and the little deal that they got with Skyline when they had some good food. And, that turkey might not have looked heavy, but that was about a 40-pound turkey of cheese, or cheese of turkey. But that was pretty cool that they did.
Was it good food?
Skyline, yeah, Skyline's always good food.
Any other questions for Des?
As you played your first conference championship in front of a hostile
You know, I was just talking to Katie George, who's going to be our sideline reporter, and you know, I said the same thing. I was like, you know, I've played in front of a full crowd, but it was at an away game, and then last year was you know, about 25% crowd, and so, you know, it's definitely going to be an exciting and a surreal experience to come here to sold out Nipper Stadium, and I know the fans are going to be rocking, and you know, it's just going to be one that we're going to have to take in real quick right there at the beginning. And then, like I said, you know, once the ball's placed down and ready to go, we're just going to go out and play football.
Thanks, Dad.
Yep, have a good one.